So let's start this over again now that I've decided to unmute myself. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dragon's Den. I am Digital Dragon, aka Luke, and we are a 3D printing channel here on Twitch. You can also find us over on YouTube, Twitter, and Discord. So as I said, we're a 3D printing channel. We do a lot of 3D projects here, either from just printing to cosplay objects, to signs like the Polymaker sign, to actual 3D printers like you see behind me. Recently, I've been attending MRF for the last couple of years, and this year was the first time I had a maker's table at MRF, showing off not only some of my printer builds. This helmet right here was on display, as well as we had some Death Racers there this year. So, we do all things 3D printing here. This is not a normal stream day for me. My normal stream days are Tuesdays and Thursday evenings and Saturday mornings. So Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, we'll get started. And then on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m., we get started and we do some builds on Saturday morning. We're in the middle of a project right now on building a sister to our Voron 2.4 Fey Dragon here, which we completed in time for MRF. We're in the process of building a Voron Trident build, which is going to be called Iron Dragon. Currently is sitting on the floor. We will bring that up here in a little bit, just to show off where we're at and what the progress is. And we will be continuing that build stream series tomorrow night. And in fact, today was an impromptu stream because not only did I get some parts that we needed for Iron Dragon's build, but we also got a box here from our good friends over at Fabrico, Hector over at Fabrico. So we will be opening up some of the mail and getting into this box and what has come in this box today. So with that, let's go ahead and get started opening up a few things. Who all do we have in here? Hey, Zero Vero, Drapsnat. I think the rest in here currently are bots, but we'll go ahead and just get a couple of things open here. Like I said, we did get a couple of things that we were going to need for this build today. And I think those are both in this package. And that will be, the Big Tree Tech 12864 display. We will need this for the build. Whoop. Let me switch cameras here real fast. There we go. So we are going to need this display for the build. So this will be our display. It's just going to provide basic information and allow us to start prints directly from the printer if we wanted to. So we'll be building this, and of course, as always with the Big Tree Tech device, you got to check and make sure the squeaker works. So we'll add that to our bucket of ducts. We'll just get this out. Like I said, interesting. I have no idea why there's a flat cable in there because we've never needed a flat cable for this display. Well, wonders never cease. It looks like on the latest iteration, the version 2.0 of the display, hey, Bionic, it looks like you can plug in with the EXP1 and 2, and I'll have to double check, but it also looks like it may have the, was it the CSI, DSI display or SPI display or whatever, so that's why there's a ribbon cable that came in it. So that's new and interesting. I've never seen that on the basic 128/64 displays. So that'll be interesting. And once again, this is for the Iron Dragon build that we've been working on. Hey, 1977 All Out, how's it going? Thank you for joining in, and thank you for the first time chat. Thank you. And for those of you that are new to the channel, like I believe 1977 All Out is, please give me a follow and make sure that Twitch was kind enough to turn the notifications on. Otherwise, it'd be hard for you to know about streams like today, because today's kind of not my normal stream day. I decided to stream today just because I wanted to show you some progress on a couple of things, talk about some future projects, and about what's in this box that I got from Fabrico Hector today. But right now, what we're dealing with is just opening up the mail that we got in from Amazon and KB3D and a few other places today. So we got our screen and we got our LED lights. If you were on the stream Saturday, you will know the amount of frustration that I had Saturday trying to solder up the pads on these. And I've done it before. I was just, I think my frustration level was hit that day. And I just wasn't going to be able to solder these joints very easily. Come on, you can focus. Anyhow, this will make the build go a lot easier and a lot quicker. Hey, Creatix Brit, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming in and joining me, especially on today where it's not a normal stream day. It's just kind of another ad hoc-ish impromptu. I figured since I got a lot of packages in the mail and my wife's out of town that I would just go ahead and stream and show you what all we got in the mail. And like I said, some of this, like the LEDs we'll need for the stealth burner, we'll need the display, which was the only thing left in the skirts that we needed to do. Speaking of stealth burner, we all know that we need to use the modified stealth burner that has the vents in it, because we are going to install the Nomi screen in here. But my good friend Evil Diesel took the design that Osita Craft originally did for me and got it on the Nomi front end. So we will have dragons on our stealth burner for this build. And I did go with the same sparkle fluorescent red for the dragons on this. I think it does show up fairly well, as you can see here. And we're finally going to have a dragon burner, like a dragon stealth burner, in one of our builds. So this will be used. And we'll get into this build tomorrow. I just wanted to kind of show off the things that came in the mail today. Let's see, what else did we get from Amazon? It's pretty sad when you buy so many things on Amazon that you kind of forget what you ordered from time to time. These are belts that we're going to need for another project that I'm thinking we might get into this weekend if we get the Trident done. And these are some 280 millimeter closed loop belts. And we're going to have an assembly project. Yeah, all I'll say is it's something from Ivan Miranda. So I bought some files from Ivan Miranda. I have everything printed out and everything cut that I need to cut. I just needed these and the motors, which I believe are showing up tomorrow if everything is right. So we will have something there. Um, so yeah, 1977 All Out. Like I said, you're new to me. You want to give me a little bit about yourself so I know kind of where you're at and what brought you to my 3D printing channel. Hey, Aaron F. Geard, how are you doing today? Glad to see you again. All right, and KB3D, heard a bunch of stuff from them. Um, might have heard me make a comment on the stream of I needed some more VHB tape. So we got some more VHB tape because I'm just about out and I'm going to need it for doing my panels. Yes, yes. There is a wild Sith known as Sith Lord Brit in the channel right now. She did change her name, but always in the heart and always in the field, she'll be a Sith Lord to us. So I know I've mentioned it before. I did go out and get a Revo High Flow. And said Revo High Flow that I'm looking for, and I'm not seeing right off the top of my head because I may have already taken it downstairs, is destined to go downstairs on the 0G Mercury 1 that I named Mercury Rising. It is based on an Ender 5 Plus, so it's a 370 by 370 by 420 build size, which is perfect for doing, you know, cosplay helmets like this, right? So I'm able to print the full helmet in one piece and then go in and print the accoutrements in other colors so that I can make one nice helmet. And the nice thing I like about doing these helmets in one piece is all the parts fit nicely together. If you have to cut them up and do them separately, it works, but sometimes they don't fit back together very well because when you print different things at different times, you have different temperatures in the in your print environment. The filament's been out longer, so it can absorb moisture more, so on and so forth. And it's just harder to get everything back together. And Creatix Brit, you know, you do a lot of cosplay and you do a lot of builds. You know, whenever you use different filaments, or even if you're printing with the same filament but you're doing multiple different pieces, they cool at different rates. They may or may not fit together nicely and seamlessly. So you wind up, you know, having to do some filling and stuff like that. And I like to print my helmets out like this. So if I choose to sand them down and make them smooth and paint them, I can. But if I want, this is the straight Polymaker bronze. It's a metallic bronze PLA. And then the blue is Xialtech Cobalt. And then these are chrome accent studs on the temple and silk chrome for the tube ends, as well as the soul patch here. You know, it's one thing when you're printing the accoutrements and they're going to be stuck on anyhow, but being able to print the whole helmet like that is really great. So having at least one large printer, in my opinion, is how I justify having my one big large printer. But because I have a large printer, if I'm printing a helmet like these, you know, they can take 2, 3, 4 days, depending on how much size and how much, you know, what layer height you're using and things like that. So right now I've got a 0.4 nozzle on it. And what I'm going to do is swap out for the high flow, and I have a high flow 0.6 that I want to try out, but I got in a 1.0 high flow. And I really wish I could find the right, here we go, sort of. Yeah, but it's a 1.0 high flow. And the other thing, just to throw it out there, this is how you acknowledge that you're using technology from other people, whether it's software, hardware, whatever. You know, give them the kudos. That's all I'm going to say. So this will be going in that big printer down the road in the not too distant future. We also got some spring steel wire. I'm going to try and use this. There is a provision in the CAN bus toolhead support bracket that I will be putting on the stealth burner tomorrow, that you can use steel wire to give it some support and bend to keep it up off the print. So I'm going to give this a shot and see if this works. And then, you know, got some more bearings because I'll use it with something that's in this box here. And I haven't said anything yet. I'm going to be making an announcement soon, but I am now a KB3D affiliate. So I will be posting some affiliate links in the future when I use KB3D stuff. You know, I will get a little bit of something back from it for the channel, but just know that I'm not exclusive to KB3D. They're great. Chris works with me a lot on these builds, and he's awesome. But when I need to, I do reach out to Fabrico, West 3D, Tensor 3D, or whomever I need to. It's just we're getting more of a business relationship, me and KB3D. So I'm with that. Now that I've got all the small packages out of the way, who wants to see what's in the big box? Okay, 1977 All Out. You're from the Netherlands and got into 3D printing when you found Akuna Mods around 6 years ago. Wow. Okay. And I thought I had gotten into 3D printing in 2016, and I was looking at my pictures and realized that my first 3D prints were around Father's Day of 2016, because at that point in time, I was celebrating my graduation from Western Governors University with my bachelor's degree, and it was Father's Day. So I got myself a present for those two big occasions, which was a Tevo Tarantula 3D printer. And that's what got me started. And that printer, believe it or not, is sitting down here in the corner. You kind of can't see it because the keyboard and stuff's in the way. But that will be a project on the stream at some point, hoping this year, where we will revive that and get it printing again. And I have a Micro Swiss Revo extruder NG for it. So yeah, I'm hoping that and a few other mods that we put on it will make it a good solid printer again. So yeah, I've been going, I guess what then, about 7 years now. And as you can see behind me, it's a bit addicting. I think I've got 16 printers. In fact, Evil Diesel, two of my Prusa Mark IIIs are now over at Evil Diesel's house because he's working on printing, well, the replacement parts that we needed for the stuff that we broke on our Gen 1 Death Racers. And he's also starting to prototype out the Mechanim racers, because we're going to try and get Mechanim racers built for Earth. If we can't get them built by Earth, then we'll take the Gen 1 Death Racers. But we are working on the Mechanim Death Racers. which are the ones with the omnidirectional wheels so that you can strafe and kind of do a circle or just move forward and then go sideways and never change the direction that you're facing. So that'll be kind of cool. Okay. Okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. Yeah. And uh, Jeff 3DHP keeps asking me or has invited me onto a stream. It's just normally it's on Saturdays. So like this past Saturday, I have been going for 7.5 hours on the build. And so I joined in and listened to 3DHP stream, but I was like, I couldn't get on there and continue to talk. My eyes were starting to cross and things like that. And yes, KB3D is pretty awesome. Like I said, he's been a go-to guy for me for a lot of the builds. Normally, I would have bought these from the Lineo light set from him and the screen and stuff, but it was really Amazon got them here. I ordered them yesterday. Amazon had them here today, and I needed them for the stream tomorrow. So if I have some time, I definitely reach out to Chris when I'm paying attention to my time and my builds, and he has come through clutch for me in getting me some Lineo harnesses for my ender wires and stuff like that. In fact, for the Trident build that we are working on right now, and once again, I will pop it up here and show it in a little bit. The bed and everything that we put on, let's say 2 streams ago, so it would have been this past Thursday. Chris actually brought it to Murph for me. So I picked up the bed, the silicone heater, the magnet, and the build plate at Murph to save on shipping and everything. So, oh yeah, if you can print parts out and stuff and save up for a better machine, definitely. And a lot of these machines, people talk about, you know, oh, Enders are a good starting printer, but you're going to have to tweak them a lot and this and that and everything else. Um, I've gotten a lot of great prints off of the Ender before I even started modding it. And this one is incredibly heavily modded. Like Big Tree Tech SKR Mini E3 V3. It's got a Mic 6 plate on it with a silicone heater, 24 volt silicone heater, and an Ultra Stick textured build plate. Micro Swiss all metal hot end, a Sherpa Mini extruder, a Penda auto bed leveling probe, linear rails on X and Y, currently a dual Z setup. I've got a dual Z linear rail kit that I was going to put on it, and I currently have a belt3dprinters.com. I'm going to have to keep looking at the sticker for it. Ender belt conversion kit coming. I've got shipment notification on it, but it's not here yet. But when that comes in, if I have not secured a donor machine by that point, my donor's right there. And that one will come apart and be heavily modded into a belt printer, 45-degree belt printer. Well, and that's the thing. The other thing with printers, they have consumable parts. Belts will wear out. Bearings will wear out. V wheels, which are running on bearings, will wear out. You need to replace those. Um, Wiring, like thermistor wiring, heater wiring, those will wear out because they're constantly those are normally the ones that are in motion, and you'll need to replace those occasionally. So yeah. Okay, so apparently I have 2 small boxes within a big box. So let's get the small box out here. And what's in our small box? We've got a Rook kit. So yes, this is a full Rook kit. And those of you that know, I did take a Rook with me to Murph. In fact, I just finally got around to uploading the video that I took at Murph with my my sign out video for the last day of the show. And we talk about the Rook in there, which is nicknamed Gold Dragon. It is a gold and black printed machine. And that was a self-sourced Mark I Rook. Hey, Nick, how are you doing today? Hey, Royal Nomi, how's it going? Thank you for coming on in. Yeah, it's a really compact printer. We got some Bowden tube and apparently the new annoying version, or I guess less annoying version of Packing Peanuts. So let me grab that box again. Get some of these things out of here. So I like these better because you don't get a lot of static with these little pieces of foam. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say these are probably offcuts of other stuff that they use foam for. So, and everything that comes out of this box will go back into the box, except for this foam padding, until we get started on this build. So, as you saw, we had Bowden tube, Rook fixed screws kit. So this is just your package of screws, bits and gubbins. So we'll have that. We've got some more screws and gubbins and end stop already made and crimped. Hey, Miss Dragon. Yes, I am taking advantage of the wife being gone for another stream. Some boxes came in, so we've been doing some unboxing. Just so you're aware, I did need to order a new screen and the LEDs because my frustration level was beyond belief trying to solder these on stream Saturday. Of course, I would probably say don't try and solder things 6.5 hours into a stream. So yeah, we got that there. For those of you that just came in, so if you know, Aceticraft made this in the standard Stealth Burner cover. So it's the Dragon Stealth Burner for me, and he posted it up on printables. So I asked Evil Diesel if he could modify the Nomi fan shroud to get me some dragons, and he did. So I was able to get this printed, so we will be using this tomorrow when we continue with the Trident build. And yeah, we'll be building the Stealth Burner, or at least the fan shroud. But we've got some really nice Honey Badger fans. These will be the part cooling blower fans and the tool head blower, or the tool head cooling fan. This looks like parts for the Sherpa Mini kit. You will have to print the parts, which I do have printed out. And then the rest of these are the pulleys, the belts, the bearings, and another pack of assorted fasteners. So let me see if I can't get this stuff shoved back in here neatly. CS. And don't worry, folks. Mrs. Dragon didn't know this kit was coming. This is on the known kit list. We've got our switch already, for the most part, pre-wired. So we'll have our inlet switch, which means it'll be running a standard-ish power supply. Where the Rook that I took to Murph uses a external power brick with the 5mm DC jack, and it was that external power brick that died. The fuse, it's got a hardwired fuse in it right next to the IEC outlet, and that fuse blew. So we would have to find the right fuses and possibly repair that. And quite honestly, we just threw it away and I ordered 2 new ones. They're sitting underneath the bench on the shelf. So, and this is the upgraded power supply. And the reason I'll say that's the upgraded power supply, because that's the upgraded power supply that they ship with the new Voron build plates. So this does use the same build plate as a Voron V0, and apparently there's a whole lot more in here than just the build plate, like the stepper motor for the extruder. Uh-oh, we just dropped connection. Darn it, let's not play that game today. The feet. This is going to be neat. So this is the hot end, and it's sealed, so I don't want to take it out. But we will take this out eventually. But this is a ceramic style hot end with a Creality top, and it's got the Rook logo on it. But this is got the ceramic hot end. It uses a standard V6, so it's not like a Revo per se, but it uses the ceramic hot end heater core like a Revo. This will be the screw-in thermistor for our bed, which if I can get it out here. This is why you need the upgraded heat or power supply, is because this is their polyimide heater. So this is already adhered to the Mic 6 build plate. You've already got your fuse on and in line and everything ready to be wired in. But these do unfortunately require you to run an upgraded power supply, but they heat up a lot quicker than a standard build plate. Yeah, Royal Nomri, I actually ran 7.5 hours on Saturday. It was a bit too much. And then we won't go into what happened after the stream on Saturday. I'm going to try and get these things back in here. That'll be the build plate. It does have the SKR Mini E3 V3. Whoops. Hey, Pezliz, how are you doing? Yep, I'm back. I had a disconnect for whatever reason. And we do have a second rubber ducky for the day. We'll add that to our collection. So it does come with the SKR Mini E3 V3. Let me kind of put these things back in there. That was the power supply. That goes there. That will go there. We've got our other motors. So this will be the A, the B, and the Z motor that we'll use. This does have a belted Z. And we've got our oh so cute linear rails. These are MGN 9C rails for all three. And I believe it's, was it 200 for the X and Y, and then or excuse me, 200 for the Y, and the X is like 150 or something like that. Or maybe they're a little bit bigger. I'll have to check the sizes. And these are just the 4 rods, so I won't take those out of the package just yet. And these will be the 4 rods that we'll use to support the bed and actually make the frame of the printer, the Z-axis of the printer. And we do have all of the parts printed for this build already. Let's see if I can get that stuff down in there. So all the parts for this build are printed already. The color scheme for this printer is going to be blue and lime green. All of these parts were printed. This is blue ABS and lime green ABS from Polymaker. I decided to go ahead and use the blue because the Polymaker Fairy, aka Zombie Hedgehog, dropped off an open spool on my table at the end of Murph. And then the lime green was stuff I had been using. So I had open, I just dried it and went ahead and printed with it. So this will be used for the build. So we've had all of these sitting up here for a little while waiting on the kit to come in. And then the other thing that they shipped to me was a Rook 2020 kit. So and we got all the peeps coming in. And so what this is the 2020 frame kit for a Rook. So this is just the frame with the... Oh, good. I was wondering if I was going to have to buy these separately or not. Yeah, so these will be all the set screws that will go with these 3-way brackets. Open Sesame. And we'll use these little 3-way brackets, yeah. You'll put one extrusion here, one extrusion here, and one extrusion comes down, and you'll use set screws to attach the 3-way bracket, and that'll get you your corners. So we've got the 3-way brackets, we've got the set screws that go with them, and looks like M5 T-nuts and M5x8 button head cap screws. So this is a frame kit for a 2020 version of the Rook. So we will be printing out those parts as well. And that was some of the other parts that came in from KB3D. That's what I needed the bearings for that we saw earlier. I believe I have everything else I need on hand. If not, like I know I've got plenty of 8mm rod. It's just whether it's the right size or not. And if it's not the right size, then I will cut them down. I have that ability. Yeah, the Polymaker Fairy. So, by the way, guys, for those that, I don't know, are not on socials and have been, in like dank, dark caves the last, 12 plus hours, Polymaker is doing a restocking event right now that kind of coincides with the Amazon days, the Prime days. So, right now, you can go out to Polymaker's website, and right on the front of their website, they have the code for 30% off. And if you would be so kind, I do have an affiliate link to Polymaker, as do, I think, quite a few people in this stream. And if you're going to take part in that sale, I would very much love it and appreciate it if you would use my affiliate link. And that way I would get a little bit of something back from that as well to help enhance the channel. Like I said, I am looking to get either another Brio 4K, which is this camera, or at the very least a 922, which is the side camera, and mount it up on the ceiling right above me so we can have a top-down view of the bench while we're doing the builds. And that may go a long way of helping when I'm working like up here on the electronics bay of a printer. So yeah, we have everything we need for this Rook kit. This one will be the next in line in the build chain. Then it would most likely be the Rook 2020 kit. I just have to download. Actually, I think I downloaded all the files off printables for this version, so I can go ahead and start printing the parts for this. And we've got the belt printer that's inbound. And once I get notification that that has left China, I will then start gearing up and trying to figure out schedule. We might move the Rook 2020 kit until after the belt printer kit. We'll see. But right now, my plan is to have 2 Vorons and these 2 Rooks at MRF, or excuse me, at ERF 2023 at the end of September. So ERF 2023, it'll be in Bel Air, Maryland. I cannot remember the name of the venue because it's like an acronym for the college. I think it's Community College is the venue. But it's October 30th and, or excuse me, September 30th and October 1st. So September 30th, October 1st in Bel Air, Maryland for East Coast Rep Rap Festival. We're going to have 2 Vorons. We're going to have 2 Rooks. Hey, Poondog, how are you doing, my friend? And I am also, this helmet right here, got a lot of love at MRF. I'm about ready to start printing another one, and I will get all the accoutrements done, and it will go with me to ERF, and it will go to somebody at ERF. So that is something else that's going on. I don't believe they have confirmed the drag racers for ERF this year. They are doing a Death Racer event. They are doing a 3D printed Pine Box Derby event. So that's the old Pine Box racer cars that you would do with like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Only you're doing it 3D printed. And I believe it's the same exact rules, except where, they have to make some changes. But it's pretty much the same exact rule set. You're just 3D printing versus doing shaping out of a pine block. Oh, that would be so awesome if we actually got Nick a set of fairy wings and had him running around at one of the ERFs or one of the MRFs or Rep Rap festivals, handing out Polymaker coupons or something. That would be fabulous. Like literally, I think, hey, Pez, why don't you suggest that in one of your calls with Nick? Because I think he would probably do it. Okay, let me put these somewhere where I'm not going to fall over them just yet. So the other thing, and we mentioned it on stream earlier, and I posted a video about it, but we got the dragster running, right? We got this running, and we made some initial passes on the street here and realized my street's just way too bumpy. So we took it over to a local park where we had a tennis court at. And for those of you with eagle eyes, you'll notice the front wing's missing. Well, we broke the front wing off very quickly. And then we kind of have an issue with the wheel here. It's not moving right. So we actually broke the axle. So we actually broke the axle. It sheared off when I put it into the fence. So we reprinted these parts. All of these parts are, the black parts are printed solid. It was one of their mixtapes, which wound up being a black. The wheels, of course, are TPU. The rear wheels are the black PLA with TPU tires, right? And what I decided, because I had the filament and I figured like I needed to build another frame anyhow, because Evil Diesel still needs one. I'm going to have him pick body colors. But I've been reprinting the frame. Anybody want to take a guess what the frame's printed in? Oh, definitely, Liz. Print some fairy wings and have Nick wear them. Like I said, that'd be cool. What do you guys think? What was this printed in? I can tell you it was printed on the Boron 2.4. So I mean, it looks beautiful. Trying to get harsh light on it so you can see the layer lines. Oh wait, what layer lines? Yeah, it printed beautifully. What do you guys think? Any guesses what this is printed out of? Oof. Okay, Blue Dude, it is PLA. What kind of PLA? 104 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. Oof. Yeah, I lived in Tucson, Arizona for 3 years. And yeah, that heat was rough. Like, it didn't matter. They were like, oh, it's a dry heat. Doesn't matter. You walk outside and you're drenched. Okay, yes, it is PLA. It is filament. It is black. So this is carbon fiber PLA. So I figured, okay, well, I had the rolls sitting there. It's been there for a while. I've got the Obsidian nozzle and the 2.4. Well, let's see what it looks like. And so I printed the frame out in carbon fiber PLA. And other than like some wispiness on the edges, I mean, it's pretty darn solid. And I mean, the prints came out amazing. So the front end, I already have the heat set inserts in. I do need to still go through and put heat set inserts in these. Something of note, the heat set inserts on your pieces that go in, if you're ever printing one of these, the heat set inserts go in the middle, bottom, and then on these sides, none of them go in here. There's no heat sets here. These are for countersunk screws, and then for the through screw that's going to go through here and go into the heat set insert that you're going to put in here in the next piece. But yeah, this is going to look really good. Like I said, the carbon fiber PLA is probably overkill for this. And it probably won't help with shearing the front wing off if you hit something or someone with it. But I was like, yeah, what the hell? It looked nice, so I wanted to give it a shot. And it's definitely going to be pretty solid. So We did get a little bit of rain this morning, so it was this morning early, so the grass is probably dried out now. But yeah, there were some storms coming around here too, but I think this round of storms went just south of us. So yeah, so we have the frame. I was thinking about putting that together while we're sitting here just chatting a little bit. Like I said, I didn't want to get necessarily into the build of the hot end for the Trident. We are going to install the Nomi. I do have, the connectors laid out, and I will do the fan connectors, which are DuPont style. I will do these on stream tomorrow. We'll get the display done tomorrow, and maybe we'll put the Nevermore together as well. Maybe that's something we can do, is put the Nevermore together. The nozzle's doing great. In fact, like I said, it's printing another piece. I just had to close the doors because it gets a little loud. Because it is PLA, I do need to keep the doors open, but I just kind of closed them a little bit to act as a baffle right now. But yeah, the nozzle's doing great. Like I said, it's the Obsidian hardened nozzles. So, and then the Trident that we're building now is going to have either a 0.4. I think I have a 0.4 sitting in it right now, but I also have some 0.6s. I may put the 0.6 in it. Yeah. Let me go ahead and fire up the old heat set machine. And we'll put in the heat sets that we'll need for the rest of the frames. And we'll just we'll set a few heat sets. And then we'll just assemble the length of the frame. I won't worry about doing the front end and anything on it, but we'll just get the frame put together. Like I said, this just fits together so nicely. It looks so nice. Like you almost lose sight of the joints. So I just stuck these together because I did do the heat sets in these first couple of pieces here. And you can see how they're made that they can be printed on an Ender or any other printer. I believe they would all fit on a 200 by 200 bed or 220 by 220, which would be even down to my Tevo Tarantula. And they just kind of snap together, and then you'll put the screws in them. Let me get a couple more heat sets in here. So on this part, which will be the back frame, so this is where your motor will mount and your wheel bearings will sit back here. You'll have a heat set at the top, the bottom middle on each side, right here on each side, 2 in the back, and then there will be 4 that go in here, and they get pushed in deep because that's what's going to hold your bearing blocks on. Hey, Blue Dude. So this is a new frame for an Edge of 3D Top Fuel dragster. So the frame is done in multiple pieces, and then you have body panels that are just a couple layers thick that go over the top of it and just get screwed on with a couple of screws to hold them on. You'll have a rear wing, and there is a front wing. It's just this one has some damage, and I broke the wheel, the front axle. So I figured I needed to print some replacement parts anyhow. So all of the black parts that you see on here on this frame are being reprinted right now. And the body panel, I'll just put right on over on the other frame. The wheels, I will keep the wheels and just move those over as they are. And the I will probably reprint one of these on the belt printer, just probably not in carbon fiber PLA, because they do have the ability to do one-piece frames and bodies if you have a belt printer. Yeah, so it's just a 3D printed RC dragster. It was kind of a, so if I remember the story right, and if Scott from Edge of 3D is in here, he can tell me, he can tell us. But we've had Death Racers for a little over a year now, and they keep iterating the designs. So there's the traditional Death Racer. There was a Death Racer Pro, which used like higher torque motors and was a little bit faster. And then there was the Hammerhead version, which Scott at Edge of 3D designed. And that was just giving you like a little front bumper to your tracks and things like that. It was more of just a design aesthetic mod. Then they came out with an Amish cart for Murph this year, which was just an add-on to pull around with your Death Racer if you wanted to. Then we had the Killdozer, which is a new design from the Michael Badley folks, Badley Prentice team of folks. And then I can't remember the guy's name right off the top of my head. Give me 1 second and I'll tell you his name. I just need to look at my downloads file. Where is it? Ryan Reed came out with the Mechanim, and that is the one that uses Omni wheels instead of tracks, and basically allows you to strafe and, you know, say this is your vehicle and you're facing this way, you can basically do a full circle without changing the direction you're facing. So that's kind of a pretty cool little thing. I think that could make things a little bit more entertaining and interesting if more people have them going forward. And then Rocky Mountain Rep Fest, the folks there said, you know, hey, we've got the Death Racers, and I know we're going to continue to do the Death Racers, but it'd be cool if we had a dragster. So Edge of 3D designed the dragster, and it uses a 540 or 550 size motor. And, you know, the main stipulations is that everything that can be 3D printed is 3D printed. You know, the rear axle is an 8mm rod, 608 bearings. You know, the motor, of course, is going to be metal. The wings and all that stuff, the screws and fasteners will be metal, but for the most part, it's a 3D printed thing. Yeah, so this is not all-wheel drive. This is rear-wheel drive. It is, I'll show you guys the motor setup in just a second. Let me get these last couple of heat sets in on this part, and then I'll show you the business end. And this setup is really, really simple. We'll check the ones in the back might be M4s. I know there's some M4s that are on here in at least one place. So the business end here, let me put it this way. You've got the motor, which is got a 20-tooth pulley going to an 80-tooth pulley. And this is just an 8mm rod. You've got lock bushings on two sides, and then on the other side as well. You've got this ring, and then you've got, oh, that one's actually loose. I got to take that off anyhow. Basically, you tension it by just sliding the whole motor forward to tension the belt. And then your wheels are on hubs. And it uses M4 in these hubs. And then a printed, I'll say a hub mount that switches it from M4 to M3s. Let me grab a couple of the parts. So, there's your big 8mm inside diameter 82, I believe it's 80-tooth pulley. Hey, Zombie, how's it going? You use, I think, 3 of the 8mm locking collars. Hey, Free Heathen, thank you for the raid, my friend. How are you doing, my dude? How are you doing? And then you use these 8mm hubs for the, in fact, let me switch over here, might help. You'll use these 8mm hubs, and these are M4 screws. So that's where you have a printed part, and you'll put M4 nuts and M3 nuts in the printed part, and then you'll add that printed part to here with the M4 nuts, lock this onto the rod, and then on this side at the other 4 points you'll have the M3 screw heat sets, and that's what you'll mount your wheel to. So you do have to grind some flats into your steel rod. So you'll need either a grinder or a good amount of elbow grease with a oh, holy crud. Or a good amount of elbow grease with a hand file to get that done. And you guys are going to have to give me a second to scroll back up through chat and see what just happened to me. Other than a raid with Free Heathen coming in with 15 people. Hey, Seller Nerd, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the raid and the hype. Free Heathen, yes. So this is one of the things. I've reprinted the frame parts, so you'll see on the racer here. One, I just realized that one of my wheels is a little loose, and this is nothing more than I don't have Loctite on the lock nut, so apparently it came loose, so I need to fix that. And your electronics, there's a servo in the front for steering. And so you will have to get an extension cable or something, but my receiver is kind of right in this area. And then let me switch back to this. And then we just have your battery, your electronic speed control, and that sits right underneath this magnetized cockpit cover right there. So you can quickly get your batteries out to cool them off between races and charge them at the end of the day. You still have access to your on-off switch. And yeah, it's very, very simple. The ESC has connections on it. The motor should have the bullet connection on it already. So I think we had to change to an XT60 connector on the battery, and that was it. And really, it's just printed parts and screws. And there's videos that you can follow from Edge of 3D's YouTube to do it. But yeah, I broke the axle. And so that prompted me that I needed to reprint a few parts. And in reprinting a few parts, I figured, why not print them in carbon fiber PLA? So all of these have been printed in carbon fiber PLA. And the prints came out beautiful. Even this, where I had supports on these cross members and at the back, I mean, those came off amazingly easy. I used Orca Slicers hybrid tree supports. And this was the support material that came off. It was through here on the back and supporting these two side inner pieces. And literally it came off in one piece like that. So this was Orca Slicer, sliced with their generic carbon fiber PLA setting. And I just said print and go. So thanks, Chris Tees. Thank you for the chat and thank you for joining us. The Free Heathen. Thank you for the follow, Polyflow or Polyfo. Just make sure I didn't miss anything else. Nope. So yeah, this is the drag racer that was designed by Edge of 3D for the Rocky Mountain Rep Festival event. I'm just going ahead and putting in the heat set inserts because I do want to kind of just put the frame together on stream tonight. And I will break out the other box of stuff that you missed out on, Free Heathen. So give me just a minute and I will break out the mail call boxes. So what I'm doing here is I try and get my heat set inserts in about 98% of the way. And then I use a flat surface, in this case, the flat edge of my tweezers here, to ensure that it gets flush with the surface of the printed part. And that ensures also that my heat set insert is perpendicular to the part, which means my thread should have an easier time, when I'm screwing things in. And for those of you that rated in, if you would be so kind as to double click on my logo in the bottom left of the screen, of your viewing screen. And what that does is that actually brings you into my stream, which basically gives me credit for you being here and watching. And I like to see my numbers kind of grow a little bit over time. I am watching the trend lines. They're not stratospheric jumps, but they are starting to grow a little bit. So, and I'm also going to show off the Voron Trident that we're in the process of building. And we stopped the stream on Saturday with a couple of things left to do on the skirt, which was building our display and then installing the display. And then after that, we still needed to finish our tool head, We did go through and get the CB1 module, which is acting as our Raspberry Pi alternative. We did get that, the software loaded up on that. And we also got the Bigtree Tech Octopus MCU board firmware loaded, as well as our printer config, I think is pretty close to being done as well. And the nice thing with that is we were basically just able to take the settings from the 2.4 and copy and paste it over, because it's the same LDO motors in the same slots. I think we had to, there's only 3 Z motors, so we had to change that. We'll need to go and change the rotation distance because we're going from belts to lead screws, so we'll have to change that. But other than that, we're pretty much done with the config. Nothing on the back end of that. So 3 more heat sets. Okay, you're warming up some dinner, Free Heathen? Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. I will be doing that after stream because I ate a snack before stream. And once again, on the wide end of the part, there's no heat set inserts. On the narrowed end side of the part, there will be heat set inserts in the lower center. And that's where your body panel will bolt on through both pieces. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Okay, so I think I have all of those in, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. Because while we're at it, and I'm remembering, screw through, heat set here. Yeah, so for those of you, what I'm looking at right now is my Nevermore V6 that's going on the Trident. And I've got it printed out. I did get my little rolling door installed because that can be kind of a pain to get started the first time or the second. So I got that installed. And this would be the cartridge that you put your activated charcoal in. And that will be the part that actually cleans the air. This will be the part that intakes the air through 2 blower fans and blows it through the activated carbon chamber. And I'm double checking. So you will mount it through here. Then you'll have to put the cover on, and that cover needs a heat set insert at this back edge here. So since I have the heat sets out and the soldering iron up, I figured, well, might as well put a heat set in there. Like I said, we may go ahead and build that tonight as well, just so we have it ready. It's not part of the standard build of a Voron, but I do like adding them in before, especially before I put any panels on. And all I'm going to do here is just kind of put these in order together. and there's no screws in it, but that would be your frame. So we'll go through and we'll add screws to this in a moment. What I do want to do is open up the boxes again. Now that we've got a few new people here, and we'll show them what we got in the mail today. Move this out of the way. So as we were talking about before, we did get a new screen. This is the Bigtree Tech Mini 12864 screen. This is version 2. And I noticed something different in this, in the fact that it came with not just the standard cables for an EXP1-2 connection, but it came with a ribbon cable. And that ribbon cable is actually well reinforced. And I was trying to figure out, like, why would we have a ribbon cable? And I looked at the back of this and realized that apparently in version 2, we not only have the 2 EXP connectors, but we also have the cable connector down here for the display. So it looks like it has the ability to connect the display directly to your Raspberry Pi now, if your Pi supports it. So that's pretty neat. But we'll be installing that on our printer. And we also got the Stealth Burner LEDs. If you were on stream on Saturday, you realized the frustration I was having trying to solder these up. And I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm just going to go ahead and order a set, and we'll get them there. So we've got that stuff that came in the mail. What else came in the mail? Well, we got our care packages from Hector at Fabrico. And those care packages include the Rook kit. Now, you know me. He sent me the Rook kit, which of course has all the bits and bobs, the fans. We've got the, I'm trying to remember, was the tool head in here? No, this has the parts, the fans for the tool head, the BMG gears for the Mini Sherpa, though you do have to print and assemble that yourself, the bearings, the pulleys, the bed springs, the what have you. They also were nice enough to go ahead and pre-solder the end stop for us and get a connection for that. So that'll be easy. We've got a Polymide V01 bed in here. This is just some more screws. We've got the IEC outlet. This one will be using a standard LED style power supply, but this is the new power supply. This is the, what is it? The Morn Sun LM200. So these are, it was set for 230. So let's go ahead and change that while I'm at it. But these are the power supplies that are coming with the new LDO Polymide V0 beds, because those heaters heat up a lot quicker. It does have the SKR Mini E3 V3. We've got the rods and the linear rails. We've got MGN9C for the Y-axis, and then the X-axis. The X-axis looks to be a little bit smaller, actually quite a bit smaller, but these are the linear rails. We've got 3 branded Rook motors, or Rolohan Rook motors. I believe these are Honey Badger motors that are rebranded. Do you remember if that's the case, Zombie? I think they were. So they're motors there. We've got our rods and our linear rails. the build plate. In this box, we have the motor wires, our little extruder motor for the Mini Sherpa, the feet, and this uses a CHT, so ceramic heater style hot end, and it's got the Rook logo on it. I didn't open this up because this is not a resealable package and I didn't want to lose anything out of it. We will be opening this up soon as we are almost done with the Trident build, and we'll be getting into this build next. And then the polyamide bed is the last thing in the box here. And that polyamide bed, so it's already pre-applied. It's already got the secondary fuse built into it and soldered in. All you need to do is screw in the thermistor, which is in the box as well. So that's all ready to go. So there's the screw-in thermistor that we'll use. So yeah, this is the build that's coming up next. See if I can get everything back in the box. It's always so hard to get everything back in the box the way it came out of the box. And along with this kit, he did send me, and when I say he sent me, so I ordered the Rook kit, and he threw in the Rook 2020 package. So I do have a set of rails. I believe they're all 200 millimeters. I'm not going to take them out of the package just yet because it's going to be a while before we get to this part. But it does come with all of the specialty connectors that are called out for on the BOM of the Rook 2020, which are these three-way corner connectors. So we'll be able to put in the three rails, and then we'll use set screws through to set the corners on these. So we'll have all of these set up, as well as the M3 5x8 button head cap screws and T-nuts that we'll be able to build the frame with. And so the intent here is to, the intent I believe was to use the frame kit to go ahead and build the Rook. But what I'm going to do is build the Rook and then use the frame kit to build another Rook. And I'll have both variants at IRF, along with a couple of my Vorons. So those are going to be a couple of the builds that are coming up. And then the other thing we talked about, Preheathen and the crew that came in from Preheathen, over here in the corner is my Ender 3. This is a very heavily modified Ender 3. Micro Swiss all metal hot end, Sherpa Mini direct drive extruder, Penda probe for automatic bed leveling. I've got a Mic 6 build plate with a 24 volt silicone heater and a Alta Stick textured steel, spring steel bed plate. Linear rails on the X and the Y, dual Z screws, lead screws, and I actually had a kit to convert it to dual, not just dual lead screws, but dual linear rails on the Z axis as well. And it's also running an SKR Mini E3V3, and it's been clipperized. So when I say heavily modified, I mean heavily modified. And it's got hardened steel nozzle on it, and it's an all metal hot end. So I can run abrasives and have run abrasives through it. And it's what I use to print all of my ABS parts for the V0 over here, and a lot of the larger ABS parts for the Voron, like some of the skirt parts that I couldn't print on any of my other printers, because at that time, this enclosed 0G hadn't been built either. So now that I have the Voron 2.4 and the 0G, which are both enclosed printers that I can print ABS on all day long, as well as the 01, which I can of course do ABS on, just I can't do certain parts. Yeah, I no longer particularly need this. It is a solid printer. I'm trying to secure a donor printer right now for the Ender 3 belt printer conversion. If I can't, by the time the Ender 3 belt printer kit arrives, we will tear this one down and use this one to convert into the belt printer. And then probably all the extras here will go over to Evil Diesel to be thrown on his Ender 3. Unless he just wants to give me his Ender 3, and then I'll give him this one, and we'll go that way. Excuse me, folks. Sorry, I keep wondering if somebody important's calling, and it's just spam stuff. So sorry about that. So that's kind of what we've had in the mail, and talking about some of the projects that we have coming up. The Rook build will be the next build in the process. We are getting real close to being able to start that build. Let me move a couple of these parts off to the side and just clean some things up here on the bench. I'm just going to set the frame down. You know what? Let's go ahead and put the frame together. It doesn't take much. It's just a few M3 screws, but they're M3 flathead screws, so you will need the flathead variants. I'll get the frame put together, then I can put it down on the ground and not have to worry about it falling apart the next time I pick it up. And I want to say, from the looks of it, that we're using the M3 by 10s for the most part to put this together. And M3 flatheads require the 2mm socket wrench. And all we're going to do is come in, whoops. We're just going to come in on the lower edge here into the ones on the side that have the countersunk edges. Once again, the one in the middle is going to be the through bolt for mounting the bed. So we'll do these two, and then back here we'll do these two and the one up top. And it's just, you go in from the sides and you're threading directly into the plastic on these. So no real ugga-dugga, just get them tight and snug and call it good, because you don't want to strip the plastic. And you'll just kind of see how fast these frames can go together once you get the parts printed out. But how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. Staying dry for the most part, hopefully. We had a little bit of rain here in the morning, but we haven't had any later this afternoon, so that's been nice. As long as we don't get rain overnight, I should be able to actually mow my yard. And that one's a little thicker, so we may have to go up to 12s now. Yeah, I highly suggest that if you're going to get some screws and you don't have some to start with, get these just pick up these little packs that you can get, IXL or I think UXL is another one. You know, just get a set. These have various sizes. You can get them in whatever types. These are the countersunk, like socket head, flat head cap screws, which are the countersunk screws. You can also get button heads and socket heads. But if you're going to be 3D printing and doing some of these projects, just go ahead and get the big assortment. And you'll find that if you get an assortment, if you do start designing your own things down the road, it's the simple fact of looking and saying, okay, what screws do I have? Let me build around those screws rather than having to go out and get a whole new bomb set of screws. And yeah, it looks like I'm still going. I just want to make sure that I didn't lose a bunch of people or lose everybody and drop the connection. I'm sitting here talking to myself. So just keep taking one section at a time and just lining it up, add the screws. And then you'll have the base frame. The body panels are the same way. They're U-shaped. They go on very quickly with just a few screws, and you can use M3 by 6 or M3 by 8 screws for the majority of them. When you get into the ones that are, well, I say the majority of them. If you're doing the through body panels, so there will be some that go just directly in. So, hey, Britt. So when you're going into this hole, because you're going through this body or this frame panel and into a set screw or a heat set insert that's in this panel, you need a long screw, right? When you're going through the two body panels into these set screws here or heat set inserts, you don't need that much. So like these can be M3 by 6 or M3 by 8. And then this one, you're going to need like M3 by 12 or larger to get all the way back into that heat set insert. And once again, you'll use the button head cap or the button head cap screws for the body panels and the countersunk or flathead cap screws for the frame. Yeah, blue is the best Gatorade color. Yeah, I tend to do the blue, and I've got to drink the Gatorade Zero now. After my having gastric surgery, I've tried to drink regular Gatorade, and I can't stand the taste. It's way too sweet, and I haven't had any sodas in 3.5, 4 years. So yeah, I just can't handle the sweet drinks anymore. But I do need the electrolytes, so that's why I drink the Gatorade Zero, especially when you start getting cramps all the time where you do work outside. I know, I think Miss Dragon probably just laughed when I said do work outside. She may have choked on her dinner or something. So, Britt, I've got to ask. I didn't see a squirrel sighting post today. I don't know if you had one or if maybe I missed it. Could be that I missed it. Oh no, you forgot? Uh oh. I gotta keep up on my squirrel postings. I keep trying to take a picture of the one in my backyard, but the little shit, every time I go to take a picture of him, he jumps up in the trees. So I haven't been able to catch him. We used to have one in Colorado that somebody in the neighborhood was feeding him peanuts because he would bury his peanuts in our yard. And then we'd be sitting there like, what is this growing in the garden? And we'd go to pull it thinking it's a weed. And it would come up and there's the peanut shell. And Mrs. Dragon would get so mad because she's allergic to peanuts. And we named him Fred the Squirrel. And she'd start cussing out Fred the Squirrel for burying his peanuts all up in our yard. And just like that, the frame is built. They have the three holes here, and this is where your um, front axle, which also has seat set inserts, will fit in. But before you can put the front axle on, you need to put that nose piece in um, because it comes down through the slot in the nose cover. So we will work on. Well, I'll work on that another day. But I did want to get that frame put together, and I mean that is a light but rigid frame. In fact, I don't think that bounces as much as the PLA, the standard PLA frame does. And I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus and call you out, Britt. I was just wondering if I had missed it because I'd have to go and check it out because I like seeing the squirrel sightings. What else, guys? You think we should go ahead and try and assemble uh, our Nevermore? It's the Nevermore Micro 6. It's the recently released one. And the nice thing about this version is you don't have to cut your fans up to build this version. If you've ever built a Nevermore in the past, you'd have to cut up your fan, which makes it useless for other things if you ever like get rid of the need for it. Let me grab a couple of fans. Say that like it should be so easy because I have fans for days over here, but it's always okay. Let me grab fans. Oh, wait, where's the actual fans that I need? Okay, I found them. So start off, you need two 5015 fans. I am using Honey Badger fans. And there's various places in here where you need to take off support. And of course, like an idiot, I've already taken it off. But there will be like half moon supports right in here because this prints on the base like this. So there will be half moon supports right here and right here. You'll have an angled support that comes down right at this area, and that's to provide support for this little fillet. Right along this upper edge, there will be a piece of support, and that's to allow for a couple of layers to get started before it prints the part that it needs, which is this lip, because the very end of your drawer or your lid pops underneath that lip. So it'll go right underneath that front lip like that. So you need to have a little bit of support there to ensure that you get a nice good groove there for your door lid. And then there's also some one of these sides. I think it's this side. It's either this side or this side. There's some support there. I think it might be on this side to give that part support so it can create the fillet or the hole space appropriately. So you remove a couple of things of support, and then it becomes lining up your fans so that the open blower side is to the hole and the exit is in this slotted space right here. So you'll set it in there, and you might have to on this right side. What I do is I take the wires out of that tie down loop because there's really no space for them to get in there. You'll have to go in at an angle to get this fan mounted in there right, just like that. And it'll slide down. You want it to slide down into the gap, and you'll have a printed piece that looks like this. It's a little clip that'll only fit in one way, and it's got a cutout, so that's why you don't have to cut any of the tabs off here. But it's going to go into those two dovetails and basically push your fan back into the corner here. On, you know what? I used, oh, let me see. Let me see if there's something that's just kind of fouling it there. I think so. Now there's two different prints, and I just realized that I had done the one that was usable with Winson fans the first time. I'm just not sure if the Honey Badgers work with that version or if you need a slightly different version that allows the fans to get pushed back in the right way. Hey, Westery One, how are you doing, sis? Hope you are doing well this day. How are things on the farm? Hope the animals are not giving you a rough time. And by animals, I mean, I hope Mia's not giving you a rough time. Well, come on, darn you. Get there? Did I get there? Did I get there? Oh, got there. And I always get the one dovetail, and because the other dovetail like you've got one full length dovetail and then one short dovetail. It's like I get it in until that short dovetail gets started, and then it's trying to play with it to get it to line up right. Oh, there we go. And that's how that clip pops in there and holds your fan in. So how you doing, Westery? Are you out working on the farm, or are you it tastes like blue. And then this fan, you got to take that wire out so it's out of the way. This fan, you can leave it in. It shouldn't cause any problems. And then once again, you're going to get your fan seated in there, and then you're going to have to just kind of wiggle it and push it to get your clip in. It's going to be a tight fit, or should be, and that one went in a lot easier. Boom. So now you've got your two clips in, and your fans are mounted in there. And our wires, we're just going to basically fold them over and run them straight across. Like this. And we're going to put Wago connectors down here. And what we'll do is we'll just cut these in an appropriate length, join them together in our Wagos, and then we'll have another wire that comes in from this side that'll also connect to the Wagos. And that'll be a wire, we're just going to run it long, just so we have it a long length of wire. So we may need to make that wire tonight unless I have a good length of wire in my big wire box, if I can find that. Okay. Yeah. So in here we've got the wire scrap box. Okay. We're going to put the printer up here real fast because we'll want to look and see about how much length we need for the wire. So let me make a little bit of room, and we'll bring the printer up here. Let me get some hydration. Which game are you going to play, Westery? You going to try and play what was it, Destiny 2 now that you finally managed to get it downloaded? Ugh. So we're kind of upside down here. But that's sort of for a reason. Let me... Oh, that is the right view. Let me raise you guys up some. Go for a little ride. So this is why I need to get a third camera so we can do a top-down view. Okay. So here's our wiring bay, and here's our, the bed's down here. What I'm going to look for is where would be the best place to run that wire. So this side, we only have a motor wire coming in. This side, we have the motor wire, the end stop, and this is where our umbilical for our tool head's going to come in, is on this side. Okay. So with that said, I think I want to try and mount this on this side, so this side of the printer. Though I want to think about that and how. Yeah, so this will be here. Flip the printer. Oh. Who would have thought we were going to do printer flipping today? Okay. We got our partial tool head put together here. Now I'm probably gonna have to drop it back down so we can see. So right now, Westery One, the screen or the camera that you're viewing right now is the main camera that I was just moving, is my Logitech C922, I believe. And the one this way, so this camera right here is a Logitech Brio like 4K camera. So I was thinking about getting another one of those and mounting it on the ceiling above the bench, because I've got the software. I finally, found and figured the software. Where'd it go? Row, George. There we go. I've got some software that I should be able to change the view on with just a click. So I should be able to move it. Or reduce the view, zoom it in on the fly. So I think that would be a good choice. My 922 camera, which is the other camera, which apparently can't give me a preview because it's being used by another tool. I would be able to do a few things, like I should be able to zoom it. We're going to check and see if it'll let me work it. Yeah. So it should let me zoom it a little bit. God, that's not a lot of zoom. So it should give me some controls. But I think the Brio works better and it has better resolution. So that's why I want to put the Brio up on the, or put a Brio up on the ceiling. Gotcha. So when you're mounting your Nevermore, these fans need to be facing into the chamber, and this side will be mounted up against the panel like this. So you can mount it like this. Won't fit there. You can mount it in the back here or on the side. Now, because the gantry is fixed, the gantry is never coming down. The bed will come down, but we don't have, over here we've got this is still kind of hard to see. Let me drop you guys down a little bit more. Yeah, like that. What kind of camera is it, Westery? So on the 0G, I mounted it on this side, and because the wire comes out right here, I can easily put it right down the cable loop back here, which is sort of what I did on the 0G, right? That'll keep my wires kind of hidden. I'll have the mount point right here, and we should be good. The other place I could put it is right here. Do the same thing where my wire can go right down in the channel. But the other nice thing is, well, for this one, it won't be as advantageous. But it's going to suck in the air and blow the hot air up. So, it's 6 one, half a dozen the other, but I think I kind of like it being back here. Now you're going to have to be able to pull the cartridge off to swap out your charcoal, and you got to replace the charcoal. It actually has a note on here to replace carbon every 2 to 4 weeks. But this will be mounted like this. And because this is the side that's going to have the umbilical, that's where I was wondering, like, would there be enough room to bring more wires down through here? And I think there should be. But what do you guys think? Do you think it would be better to have it here? Or do you think it would be better to have it over on this side? And the other reason I'm kind of asking that question, and you'll see when we flip it back over, is understanding which leg we're coming down and how much wire we would need. So when I actually flip this over, I'm going to flip it this way so the back will be facing us. Okay. So let me roll this up again. Whoop, up, not down. Hey, John Strand, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to see you. Okay, so now we're up as high as I can probably get you. So once again, our mounting options that we were talking about was like here on this side, where we come up right through this area here. Now, one of the things that we have here is all of our high voltage lines are right here. So this is all of our mains power right in this area. Okay. If we come up either in the back, I prefer to come up in the back here because that way my wire that exits isn't seen. If I do it on the side over here, my wire is coming out on the front side over here, and I would have, there's no real way of routing it without it being seen. So if I mount it in the back here, my wire can come out right here, immediately go into the channel, and my run then is down this side and over to a fan port. So I think this is the side I want to go in because it's going to reduce my cable run and it's going to keep me from running cables around this 120. So that everything over here stays, 110, and everything over here is 24 volt. It's a little complicated, but it's not too bad. So this is the bottom of a Voron Trident build. So we've got our 24 volt power supply, 350 watt, 24 volt power supply. We've got our SSR, and this is for the heated bed. So our heated bed here is 110 volt mains voltage. Then we've got a little RS255. So this is, it takes main voltage in, puts out 5 volts, I think 25 watts at 5 volts. So it's 5 volts, 5 amps, which powers the Raspberry Pi via the GPIO header. We will have right here is a BigTreeTech UTC version 2.1. So we're going to bring 24 volt from here to these terminal connections here. And then we're going to have a USB-C to USB-A that jumpers into to our CB1 module that acts as our Raspberry Pi. And this is the CAN bus module. So this will be what creates our CAN bus network to our tool head. Yeah. Sorry. CAN bus will come up through this corner, I believe. No, CAN bus is going to come up through this corner, and we'll probably route it down through the center around and then plugged in. Because once again, I want to try and keep from routing stuff around the higher voltage side. So we'll bring our CAN bus cable in. We'll probably bring it all the way down into our cable trough, bring it around, exit the cable trough, and then plug into one of these two connectors on this side. And that way everything will stay nice and clean. We've got our OS installed on the Raspberry Pi. We've got Klipper running, and it's talking to the firmware on the controller board. What we still need to do is set up our CAN network, our CAN bus network on the Raspberry Pi. We need to flash the toolhead board with CAN boot, flash it with Klipper. So we'll do it with CAN boot using a USB cable, and then we'll flash it with Klipper using the actual CAN bus cable, which is what CAN boot enables us to do. And then once we get all that done, then I will re-terminate the cable to the proper length. But everything is connected and working. So we need to still put our screen up here at the front. That's the other thing that we have to do tomorrow night. But tonight I was really looking at what I needed for the Nevermore, because I wanted to make sure and get that connected. And this should be plenty of wire based on that routing. So I'm going to set this back down on the ground for now. I didn't really want to do too much on the printer tonight because it's kind of an ad hoc stream tonight. If you have two CAN buses, is that a CAN bus? I don't know, but if you tie two cans with a string, is that a CAN bus? Because you can't talk over it, right? Thank you for the follow, Sheldon B 2020. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for the follow. As I mentioned before, if you're new to the stream or you're new to following me, make sure you double check. I've noticed that Twitch, at least with me when I follow some people, Twitch does not set the auto notification all the time. So please make sure that you check the notification settings as well, so that you're notified when I stream on these ad hoc days. Like today is not a normal stream day. My normal stream days are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So what I need to do now is I've got this wire, and it's already had the ends pulled. So that's what I wanted to know. And awesome sauce. So what I'm trying to do is see which side is which, and I don't have any markings on this particular cable. So I need to artificially identify which side's going to be which. So what's an easy way to do that? With some tape. And I actually have a little piece right here. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape around one of these ends. And our taped end, you guys got to remind me, the taped end is going to be our positive. Wow, let me drop you guys back down. Bring you back down from elevation while we work on this. So as you guys know, when I set up my the Wagos that I used for the bed and the mains wiring under the deck, I used my own Wagos that I had. And then when I got the Lineo under deck kit, it came with a set of Wagos. So it's got 3 of the 5 ones and 6 of the 2s. We're going to need 2 of the, what are these? The Wago 221. I think they're like 422s or something like that. Yeah, taped is positive. And then drop it and let it roll across the floor. Why? So our taped end is positive, so we'll need to know that when we do these. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is work on, well, I need to run this through. So you've got this little piece here. What that's going to allow you to do is run your cable through the end. Cable through there. And make sure which way I did it. So the red, we'll do it like that. So you're going to put that through the end. And then you're going to put your wires in there. You'll be able to pull the slack out. And then this is going to go in that opening there and clip. Okay? And what this does is this provides you just a nice finish. You know, a little cover that provides a nice finish with your cables. Now there's two options. We're going to do the Wago method because I kind of like the Wago method. If you didn't want to, well, I can afford colored wire, but I'm using scraps from the scrap bin here, and this was good enough wire length that I didn't need to cut it. So I do have colored wire over here. I just didn't want to recreate if I didn't need to. The other option you could do is you've got this keyed piece here. And what that allows you to do is you can put in two JST connectors, but you would have to solder because they'd have poles in the back, you'd have to solder the connectors, and you would be able to put a JST in the front here, but you would have to solder the connectors in the back. And then this whole module would just slip down in there and clip in. So you'd have your two JST connectors, and you would just take your wires and plug it right into the JST connector. So that's one option on how you can do wiring. Okay. The other is your two Wago connectors, and you just stake these and they will slip right in there and stack down. But you do have to cable them up first. So what I'm going to do is grab my strippers. Strippers and crimpers, because we will need to do a little bit of crimping here in a minute. And I'm going to start with my exit cable, and I'm just going to strip off a bit. These are 24 gauge wires, and we know that we need to strip off 11 millimeters, and we're going to use the gauge on our Wago to figure out how much we need to strip off. You want to try and be as close as possible to that amount and not go over. If you go over, it's easy enough just to cut the end off. And I just twist these to make them nice. I'm going to open one side of the Wago, put that end in. Close it down, give it a tug, make sure it's nice and solid. Then we're going to do the other end. We'll check our length. Just a tiny smidge more. Hey, Robin, how are you doing? Thank you for joining in. Yep, Dragon has strippers. Don't tell Mrs. Dragon, she's on the line somewhere, I think, or she was earlier. Yeah, nobody tell Mrs. Dragon I got strippers at the house. You might not understand. Okay, so I'm going in the same side. Close the lever, double check, and we're good. Now what I need to do is double check which side was which. So the right side is my positives. I'll have to double check that later. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, you can just cut the tip off, but then you're going to have a lot of wire that you have to cram in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of figure out about how much I need and cut these, preferably without giving myself another blood blister. We'll strip the ends off here. Awesome. Glad you're doing good. Where's my, there it is. A little bit more. If you happen to get a little bit extra on these right here, it'll be okay because we're going to have to twist two of them together. And that will make up a little bit of the slack. So we got one of our fans ready. Now we need to figure out about a length for the other one. Do the same thing. Cut the wires and then strip back 11 millimeters. And then what we'll do is we'll twist light colors together and we'll take our two blacks and twist them together. And we'll take our two reds and twist them together. And once again, I'll verify which one I said was my positive, which is my taped end. So this one's my positive. So I open the other side of my positive up, and I'm going to put my red wires in it. Make sure it's all the way in, clamp it down, give it a tug test. Now we're going to do the same thing for the black wires. Okay, so we've got that done there. Now we're going to take these and we're just going to kind of line it up and slip it in. There is a I think I'm going to do the positives first. There is a give me a second. A little cable like alignment clip that you can use to clip your cables underneath. And you're just going to take your Wagos and you're just going to push it down in there. Get your cables underneath and around that clip. And push it all the way down in there like that. And it'll seat in there. And then all you're going to do is you take the other side and put it right on top of it. Push it in there. It will align and pop in. Now you can pull your slack out and you've got your wires nice and run. Your Wagos are in there nicely. And you can put your lid on And don't worry about these wires sitting a little proud, because you do have a little bit of a gap in here. So you'll just set these in, line up the edges in the groove. Line up edges in the groove. There we go. And you can push in on the sides to bow it just a little bit. And then this edge has tabs in it. You're going to have to just kind of be a little manhandly to push those tabs down. And you just heard them pop in. And then you're going to have an M3 button head screw right here that goes into that heat set insert we put in. And that's going to hold the lid together. And you'll see we've got our fans lined up shooting through there. They line up pretty nicely here. And we'll still need to put in our 6 by 3 millimeter magnets. But let me clean up my insulation. Yeah, the new version of the Nevermore was really well thought out. And like basically you'll have this little triangular piece here. You'll put an M3 socket head screw and use a T-nut to secure this in place. And then you're going to run an M3 bolt through here, through this base. I've got a little bit of a lip on that. But it'll sit on the base just like that, and you'll have a M3 nut here, and you're going to run another bolt through here that goes underneath the lid that I just put on. So guess what I'll have to do is take that lid back off when I go to mount this in the printer. But you kind of see how we're doing this. And then on this side, we need to go ahead and crimp. But what I'm going to do, I need to figure out which way. I just need to make sure which way my connector goes in. So let me grab my connectors. And we can create our connector end here. Rip a little bit off that side. We'll need that. We won't need this. We won't need that one, I don't think. You're all good, John Strand. You're all good. I don't have an OnlyFans account yet, but you know, you never know. I might need to get one. Apparently, I've been told I've got some sexy printers. Notice it wasn't me that was sexy; it was the printers. And once again, for those of you, let's just do a public service announcement for those of you that just joined in. Polymaker is currently doing a 30% off special for a couple of days. I think it goes through sometime on the 13th. They're calling it the resupply or restocking, like the summer restocking. It's funny that it kind of aligns with Amazon Prime Days. Not really, but now's a chance if you need to restock on your filament. Now's a good chance to go and get filament. Like I said, it's 30% off. And if you're going out there and you haven't already used somebody else's, I do have an affiliate code. It is showing up in chat right now. It is a Bitly link. I created the Bitly links myself. So I promise you they are good. If you want to use my affiliate link, but you want the full URL, whisper me and I will give you the full URL so that you know it's good. Unfortunately, what I was finding was using the affiliate link, YouTube strips the affiliate code off. So your only option really is to do like a Bitly code or something. Otherwise, it'll strip your affiliate portion off. I don't know why, or I don't know if it was just doing it when I was trying to do it for whatever reason. But that's why I was using a Bitly link, is because it doesn't strip it off. So if you've got an opportunity and you need filament, now's a good time to go and get filament while they've got that special going on, and you'll save a little bit of money. And I don't know if it also works with the HueForge discount if you have your HueForge coupon code, but I'm sure PezLiz or Zombie, if they're still hanging around, could shed some light on that if it allows combining of coupons. Downside of this wire is it's very flexible. So I wind up getting it lined up, and then I normally have to hold the tip. Otherwise, it'll sometimes roll out and I get a bad crimp. That one's not 100% stellar, but it's workable. There we go. Now that is my negative terminal. So I'm going to double, triple, quadruple check real fast which side is the negative terminal for all my fans, and I'm going to put that side in first. Then I will pop my tape off and do the other side crimp. I'll find that later. Did I just knock off? Oh, I didn't knock anything off, but a fan fell. So I'll have to get that before the stream tomorrow. So Robin, are you working on anything or got any projects in the works? We talked about some mail stuff that we got in, and we got a care package from Fabrico, which was a Rook kit that I bought while at Murph. And that also came with a Rook 2020 frame, which was in that box, and another build plate, which is coming later. Excuse me. And so the next build after we get the Trident done is going to be the Rook Fabrico kit. And then afterwards, I'm going to self-source the rest of the stuff that I need, which I believe I actually have everything here. And I'm going to build the other Rook as the 2020 kit. And that way I'll have a self-source rook, a Fabrico kit, and a 2020 framed rook. The only thing I won't have would be a West 3D kit, which I'm not opposed to, but I don't think I need yet another rook. But my plan is to bring a 2.4, a Trident, a whatchamacallit, and both the rooks to Earth, along with some things that kind of go burr in the form of like Death Racers and stuff like that. May have cut that one a tad bit short, but we're okay still. We're okay. There's plenty of wire there. Okay, so I will bring the printer back up here, and we are going to install at least the base here in the printer. So you scoot that aside, put that there, and the printer is going to come back up here, but it's going to need to be up, and we're coming in this side in the back. Oh, okay. So we're going to put the printer here. So we want to come in this side in the back so that we can route our cable down here. And because the fans need to be facing the interior, because this is going to have a panel here, we're going to mount it just like this so that our wire that we created can immediately go right down here into the bottom deck. Oh, helps by switch cameras. Sorry about that, folks. So once again, the fan inputs need to be facing the chamber. This will be the back side, and we're going to have a panel here. So we want to mount it right along this edge, and we'll tuck it in as tightly as we can so that our wire comes right down in the trough. Now, the other thing we have to be mindful of is we will leave this with a little bit of space right now because we do have to run our umbilical cable still when we do the tool head, and it'll come down through here and down into this trough as well. So we'll just need to be cognizant that we've got other cables to run. And then we can move this back over and tighten it back up. And I still can put the, well, let me go ahead and do that before we put these in here. Let me grab some 6x3 magnets, the super glue. We make sure our magnets stay in place. And I just tend to buy magnets in bulk. Then I'll just take some off, and they're all in the same direction, so I should be able to push them in and get them all in the same direction. You don't need a whole lot of super glue, just a tiny bit, because these are pretty decent tolerance holes. So get one in there, get the second one in, then just make sure that they're pushed down all the way. Same thing on the other side. A little bit of super glue. You forget which way the polarization was. You just check real fast on the other side. Just flip that one over. Oh, that one's on the carpet. Just like I said, make sure you push them all the way down. So that's the polarization of these. Then what we can do is go ahead and do the other side, and all you're going to do is take your stack and flip it over. And you can double, triple, quadruple check. Okay, so it's going that way, which means this side needs to be down. Okay, we've got our magnets set. I'll find that one to hit the ground somewhere sometime. The next thing we need to do is, once again, we got our part. We're going to need an M3 T-nut. And an M3 by 8 screw. Get a T-nut in there. Put our screw through that. Kind of locked in there. Hold back just a little bit. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'm just going to line this up. This down. Make sure it still works. Lines up and works. That'll still work. So we will want to drop our umbilical cable in here. So I'm kind of doing a little bit here, but I'm not trying to do a lot on the build, Chris. The plan tonight was really just showing off the package that I got from you and Hector. Well, the stuff I ordered from you and Hector. And also just wanted to, English sometimes. We put together the new frame of the dragster, and I'll pull that out and show it here in a minute. And right now I'm just wanting to run my umbilical cable and get it in the chute before I close things up down below. Because when I put this in place, to close it up, I need to have this run and then the zip ties redone. So we're going to need to get this run down in here and just pulled through in a big mess. So we will continue this wiring on stream tomorrow, but now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and move it all the way to the opposite corner so I can kind of sort of figure out what my umbilical will look like, so I can kind of get the amount of space that I'll need so I don't get anything pulled too tight. And then zip ties. We'll redo some zip ties. Yeah, it's just a bonus stream. So Mrs. Dragon is out of town. So I had the ability to stream tonight. I did get a new, I didn't order these from you, but I ordered this off Amazon, and I didn't realize this is the version 2.0. And it came with not just the regular cables, but a ribbon cable that's really well enforced or reinforced. And I didn't realize that the newer versions of the Big Tree Tech are coming with the ribbon cable connection as well. So you can connect them directly to a Pi versus directly to the MCU. And then I also got my Lineo cables because I gave up on trying to solder Saturday. And then there's the fan shroud that we're going to use. Evil Diesel was able to take the Dragons that Acetacraft did for the standard stealth burner and get them ported over to here, which is the Nomi stealth burner shroud. So we got a lot to do tomorrow because we'll be installing the Nomi and building the rest of the cooling portion. I did mount everything else up there because I was trying to look at cables and routing and everything. A couple of cables are long, but I think we should be good still. Yeah. And that's what I said is I don't think everybody's going to be using it for that particular feature or capability, but I think it makes it a good solution for those that can use it. I'm just going to wrap these back up so they're out of the way. Yeah, I really liked that we were able to get the dragons going because I have found that once you build the stealth burners, they don't really come apart that easily. And I'm always afraid I'm going to bust them trying to take everything back out of it. Either that or bust the, like the LEDs and stuff like that. So So I'd much rather build it once and not have to take it apart unless I absolutely have to because something broke. But cut these flush, um, as flush as possible, because if not, you will slice yourself open. And you know this is already a red and copper build, and I haven't bled on it yet. I don't think so. I'm trying not to bleed on it, but we will be terminating the DuPont connectors because doing those on stream, no problem. We will be installing the NAMI or whatever, however we want to pronounce it. We'll have our screen that we need to install, which all of that should go fairly quickly. And then basically it's just the stealth burner tool shroud that we need to build. And then we'll have to get into some more software, which is why I wanted to run this cable, because initially we'll connect via USB and then we'll have to connect via the CAN bus cable. So now let me get this shoved in here. I'm going to put the Nevermore on the back right, because if we put it over here and run it down this way, this is where all the high power is. And I'd prefer to keep it away from the mains power. And so that looks really good. Nope, not lined up yet. Oh, it's fouling right on the edge of the wires there, so I need to move this over ever so slightly. There we go. And I'm trying to remember from, well, just the last build. I want to say that's a M3 by 16 button head screw and a M3 nut. M3 nut on one side, and we'll need a button head cap screw, which is over here under this pile. By KB3D. Just double check here with a I think 16 does it. And when you go to tighten this in, one, you're going to be threading it through plastic, so just be prepared for that. And then two, this lip is kind of in the way. I really wish they had, like, I don't know, provide a little notch in the lip from where the button head cap screw goes. You know what? There is a tad bit of a notch there. I wonder. wonder, maybe it does have a bit of a notch there as part of the that real thin layer of support material. That helps. There, this here. So Chris, did you get those orange frames from Jason? This will go all the way in, and it'll like countersink just a shade in the other part. And we'll get these back out of the way. And we will fiddle with our lid again. And there we go. There's our Nevermore base installed. We've got our umbilical cable up here ready for tomorrow night's stream. We'll just kind of loop it out of here, out of the way for a moment. We've got the extra cable down here at the bottom. We do need to still plug in that cable. And if I remember right, the very next outlet, up and over, raise everybody up. Not yet, but you fully intend to? Yeah, I've been talking to him. Move it like this. So this would be our excess right now for the CAN bus. I'm just going to set this right here for the time being. And then this is our fan wire. It would come down and come across. It's going to be a little long, but that's okay for right now. And it's going to be the next one in line here. So actually, wiring OCD kicking in. Oh, really? When did that happen? That's awesome. But anyhow, this will come in and it's going to be the next one in line of the fans. So we'll just plug that in. Facing it the right direction helps because the thing will go in right. Okay, and that's plugged in. I'll go in and add the, cut the zip ties and redo the zip ties there, just to keep the little bit of a service loop up. And then that's it. So underneath here, let me Let me move this out of the way, and then I will stick something up underneath there so that we can tilt that printer a little bit. And I can show you where we're at. Hopefully that helps a little bit. So we've got our 350 watt power supply, our SSR that's directly connected to the bed because we're running a mains powered bed. We've got our RS-25/5, which is our 5 volt, 5 amp power supply for the Raspberry Pi, which in this case is a Bigtree Tech CB1 module on a Pi 4B like carrier board. We've got all of our OS is installed, the Klipper's installed. We've got our initial configuration for Klipper. We'll need to do a couple of changes still, but our initial configuration is on here. And what we did was we took the configuration from the 2.4 and just moved it over. We changed the number of Z motors. So we commented out the Force Z motor, and we modified we replaced the quad gantry level with Z tilt adjust. So we've got that set up. We flashed the firmware on the controller board, and these two are now talking over USB. And I have a UTC installed here. I'll need to run power to the terminals over here for the UTC, which is USB to CAN bus. And then eventually our CAN bus wire is going to come down here, run through our cable trough, come right down here and plug into one of these two side connectors, right? And that will provide 24 volt power, CAN high and CAN low to the tool head. And the tool head has a Bigtree Tech EBB SB2209 controller board on it. And that's a separate MCU that will run all of the electronics on the tool head that way. So this is a nice little setup. It works really well. You know, the only other thing I could think of would be to swap this out with the half-size UHP power supplies. Like this. The nice thing about this is you've got your inbound on one side, your 24 volt comes out the other side. So in that case, it would sit here. We would gain some more real estate in the bottom deck because it's a lot thinner. You've got your inputs on one side, and then your 24 volt comes out the other side. And then what you can do is run a set of Wagos on a DIN rail over here that you can then run power to everything that's 24 volt. So in that case, the UTC would sit over here. We'd go into the UTC, we'd go into the motherboard, which we would turn around and be able to run things that way. I use this on the 0G build, and I liked it so much I did buy another one. This is going to go on the larger 0G downstairs because once again, it's a mains powered bed. So the only thing running off the electronics is the controller board and the CAN bus tool board, right? Because 5 volt, you're still going to pull from your RS-25/5 or some other type of step down buck converter. And if you use the actual Raspberry Pi, which is what the Bigtree Tech Pi version 1.2 board, I think, you can actually put 24 volt into that. So, hey, Osita Craft, how are you doing? Yeah, it's been a while. Been a while. So, Osito, I do want to show you something. So I've been trying to get hold of you and I couldn't get hold of you. So I asked Evil Diesel if he could do me a solid, and he took your file and moved the dragons over to this shroud. This is the Nomi shroud that will let you run the little LCD in the top board here, or the top of the, in front of the fan. So I did have Evil Diesel do this. I'm going to make sure that he gets you these files, or that he uploads them as a remix on printables, because you were the one that came up with the Dragon Stealth Shroud for me. So I really appreciate that. But I know you've been busy, but this is the same red that I'm using. This is the Sparkle Fluorescent Red with the Sparkle Old Copper. And I think that kind of comes out looking really well. So doing good, doing good. This was not the main intent. What I wanted to do was get the Nevermore version 6 kind of built, and then get the cable routed. So that was done, and I made sure I had to put my umbilical in here as well to make sure that my wiring was cleaned up when I put this in, because you have to have the panel off to run the mount screw, then put the panel cover back on, and then eventually your back plate's going to go on here, and it just makes it a little bit harder to get to. So tomorrow's stream, we're going to finish working the tool head, and we're going to do some CAN bus wiring and stuff. So let me get this flip back over upright. We also need to do our screen, because we didn't have the screen in. We've remedied that. Yeah, that cable's just going to get in the way, but that's okay. There we go. Oh, yeah, so we kind of just gave ourselves some length for our umbilical cable, which will mount right there, but we won't be able to install this, and we gotta put CAN boot on the board using a USB-C connector, and then we can put our CAN cable on there, and there will be another couple of pieces that need to get installed back here before we can do that. So yeah, a little bit still to do on the wiring, but our tool head is coming together. I will have to trim my belts to size, add that on there. That kind of gives you the look. Let me bring you guys back down to earth here. Yeah, stealth, not stove. Yeah, bring you guys back down here. So that kind of gives you the look, right? Oh. So we do get that nice, good color contrast there. So yeah, and this was kind of a one-off stream just to do a couple of things. So I got a bunch of stuff in the mail that I wanted to open up and show off. Let me pull this down here. Put that there. So we go to this screen. So you may have seen me talk about the drag racer. So, hey, Evil Diesel, how's it going? Yes, the dragons worked out. In fact, I was also telling Acetocraft, who is the one that designed that originally, that you would upload that as a remix on printables, or you can send it over to him and he can upload that as a secondary option. But we did get our dragster up and operational, but you may notice that we're missing a front wing. And we got a loose wheel here. So we were running it around, and you know, somebody, me, well, actually, Evil Diesel ripped the front wing off, and then I busted the wheel. So I need to rebuild this piece here. But what I've been working on is a new frame. Right? And eventually I'll do a full like single piece frame rather than the multi-piece frame with one of the projects that's coming down the pipe. But and of course I can't have a frame and Evil Diesel not have one. So here's our second frame starting. This is the cockpit piece. And I just want you to see, I just popped this off the build plate. I'm going to pull that piece off. I'm going to work this piece off, which loosens that piece, that piece. These pieces I'm just going to give a slight push on the back side of. And this piece up here is the harder part. See if I can get it off without snapping it. Nope, snap that one, but and then there's your, this is the hybrid tree support in Bamboo Slicer. But all those supports just came off. You know, other than I've got a little bit of fine stringing on here. You can't tell where that support was at. But for those of you that were here earlier, you know the answer to this. This was printed on the Voron 2.4, right? What do you think this was printed in? And this is showing through just because I think it's like one wall or something, one or two walls on that side there. It is really made to be light. What do you guys think this is printed in? And yes, it's filament. Yes, it's black. Yes, the color is black. Thank you, Miss Dragon. I appreciate that. Yes, it did. I was like amazed with how well that came out. Yeah, you won't cheat because you know. So this entire frame, which is super, super rigid and, you know, a lot more rigid than the first one I printed out. This is carbon fiber PLA by Polymaker. And it came out phenomenally. So I'm not sure. I'll probably do the wings still in regular filament. But yeah, this and the front axle pieces were all done in the carbon fiber PLA. See if I can get this to show up. And these bulges are just from the heat set inserts that I've already put in. But yeah, since we snapped this the first time, I was like, okay, let me get the well, let's be honest. I snapped it because I ran it into the fence at the tennis courts, and snapped the wheel. But so be it. Oh, it is. It feels so much stronger. It feels so much stronger and rigid, especially back here in the cage area. Yeah. So yeah, it printed very nicely, very cleanly too. And once again, this is printed on the Voron 2.4, which has a Obsidian nozzle on it using Orca Slicer. So I'm going to build print out a second frame so I can switch my body and stuff over onto that one, and Evil Diesel will have a frame that he can put together so that he can run a dragster or build a dragster so we can run against each other. But yeah, these printed out extremely cleanly on the Voron. And then also, I may have mentioned this in the past, but this helmet right here, which is a Blood Angels Mark 8 helmet, got a lot of good comments. It's kind of like the Zero G printer over at the KB3D booth. So I've decided I'm going to print another one of these out and get it, get them both finished off with all the final accoutrements and the eye lenses. And I will be taking one to IRF with me, and it's probably going to find a new home at IRF. But I will have it at IRF. So if you're going to IRF, check it out. Check it out. I'll do some raffle, or I'll figure out some way. I've got to figure out some way of giving it away during the show. But I am going to have a 2.4. I am going to have the Trident. I am going to have the 2 Rook builds. So for those of you late to the game, we did get our package in from Fabrico. And I paid for this kit. Well, I paid for the Rook kit, and he threw in a Rook 2020 frame kit for me. So, but you've seen a few people opening these up, but I do have the full Rook kit in here. It comes with pretty much everything, all the fasteners, the controller board. I will be putting Clipper on it based on my previous Rook build, and I've got a couple of Raspberry Pi Zero alternatives. What is the Banana Pi M2 and a Radsa on the way, supposedly. So that when they get here, I will put one of those on here. But I want to say they're Honey Badger motors that are rebranded with the Rolohan symbol. The hot end has the Rook symbol on it, which is pretty neat. We're going to be doing a blue and lime green color scheme on this. So I think that's going to really pop. And we'll be using a mini Sherpa. And then I've self-sourced the rest of the parts that I already didn't have on hand from the spares from my other Rook. And this is a set of 2020, I think 200 millimeter. There's 12 of them here, but it's a extrusion set. It also has the corner brackets and the M5x8 screws. So I will also build a Rook 2020 kit. So I will have a standard Fabrico Rook kit, a Rook 2020 there, and then I'll also have my personal Rook Mark 1. And yeah, so we're going to have a couple of these. The other thing that is inbound is I've ordered it. It's still sitting in China. I'm waiting on it to come in, but it's the belt3dprinterkit.com. And I think the company name is actually like Additiva, but it is the Ender 3 45-degree belt printer conversion kit. So I've been trying to source a Ender 3 from somebody local off of Facebook Marketplace, and they've pretty much gone silent on me. So if I don't have a donor option when that kit arrives, then this heavily modified one will get torn down and built as the belt printer. Or Evil Diesel will bring me his Ender 3 Pro and take this, and I will take his Ender 3 Pro and rebuild it as the belt printer. We'll see. We'll see. One way or the other, we'll figure it out. But the plan is once we finish the Trident, we'll start on the Rook kit. And then depending on whether or not the belt printer is here or not, we'll probably do the belt printer and then the Rook 2020 or vice versa. It all depends on what comes in the mail when. We'll have to see. But first we got to finish the Trident kit, which we should be able to get through tomorrow night and be pushing plastic tomorrow night. And the wonderful timing here. You may have just seen in your chat window from Own3D, which is my moderator, my Polymaker affiliate link. So I do have a Polymaker affiliate link. I have no idea what I get from that because I don't think anybody's used it yet. Hey, Turtle Crawler, welcome in. But now is the perfect time to use it because Polymaker has just announced, I believe today through sometime on the 13th, they're doing a restocking sale. So now's a good chance to go and restock all your printer chow. And they've got a 30% off coupon. I can't remember what the code is right now, but if you go to the Polymaker website, it should be right on the splash screen what that code is, and it'll give you 30% off. And if you use my affiliate link, it doesn't change the cost to you, but I will get a little bit of something back from that. I have not made a full announcement yet on my other recent affiliate link. That will be coming out very shortly here. But I am working some deals to get some other affiliate links and some discounts coming to the channel soon for specific streams. So be on the lookout for that. I am by no means wanting to turn into a giveaway channel, but I am looking at trying to do like a monthly giveaway as well as giveaways during specific streams. But I want to use those kind of judiciously. So just something to throw out there. And gang, it is now almost 9 o'clock. I still have not eaten dinner. I was only planning on streaming for a couple hours. Thank you all for joining in. I want to see who is out there to raid. I have a specific raid target if they are on. I just don't know if they're on. So let me check over here and see if they're on. And they are. Okay, folks. So those of you that have been around for a while, you probably have seen her work. And by her, I mean Shannon Rona, aka S Rona, I believe 98. No, S Rona 58. Numbers. And she has built some amazing Iron Man suits. She's known for her rescue armor as well as her Iron Man Pittsburgh Steeler armor. She's done a lot of cosplay, and she's well known for it. And she's kind of trying to get back into that. Right now, I believe she's playing some Destiny 2 and just having a chillax stream. But I hear that she may be getting back into some more streams. And I just want to get some people over to her so that you can meet her, that you can see her, you can follow her and start seeing some of her awesome work. check her out on Twitter, look at some of her previous posts and see her rescue armors and stuff. And here's the thing that I just recently found out. She built not one, but two full Iron Man suits, the rescue armor and the Pittsburgh armor, on a single Ender 3. Which means we all know that's 235 by 235. She had to do a lot of cutting of files to get that done, which means that's a lot of splicing of files to get them back in the right shape. Filling, priming, sanding, and these things are mint. So please, everybody, go with me as we raid over to Estrona 58. I'm going to double, triple check that again. Yes, it is 58. Like I said, she's playing Destiny 2 tonight, but I do believe she will be streaming some more of her cosplay stuff in the near future. She does have a couple of different nights, like gaming one night and then streaming other stuff on a different night. But please go with me, show her the love, and let's give her a follow and check out some of the cool work that she brings to the community. I am getting that raid started, so please jump in there with me and let's go raid over and check out Shannon. Give her a follow, watch her streams a couple of times, and if you like it, great. If you don't, you can back out later on because follows are free. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night, regular scheduled time at 5 p.m. Thanks all.